Hey, how you doing there, YouTube? I think I'm going to make this a direct-to-YouTube video. Usually I play it first on my live internet show and then upload it to YouTube, but I don't know if I'll do this as a normal show topic. This has to do with the Challanges remote location shooting because I want to get out of the studio and shoot occasionally different news items, clips, bring back to the show and show as regular, news clips outside the studio. And it was kind of a challenge. This first news clip I decided to do was on the Ritz Theater located in downtown Corpus Christi, and I'm going to kind of tell you some of the trials and tribulations trying to get everything to work, which it did. There was just, little snags and faux pas, so I figured it'd be interesting for everybody to hear that. Some professional video editors call it workflow, where they go to a shooting location all the way to a finished product ready to either sell or post on the internet or DVD or whatever else. And so in a way it wasn't the news item itself, this was my test bed to see how I would get my own workflow. So, and these are some of the problems I faced when I was shooting in downtown Corpus Christi. Unfortunately, we're located close to the coast, so we often get a high wind during this spring and summer months, like there was that day. And I was planning on taking a different type of microphone, which is a dynamic, which is better for windier situations. Now, I did have a condenser because the other one's a handheld mic, and I'm just my own cameraman at that point, so that was an option. Of course, I did have a pop filter on it, a foam pop filter, but that only could do so much. So post-production, I actually had to go into the EQ settings and try to set the 80, I think it was 80 and below frequency range down to try to get that low rumble wind sound, which was kind of limited. I couldn't get to really work all the way. Another thing that came up was in dark locations inside a movie theater, which is designated. Usually, I mean, it's going to be pretty much designed to be dark in the first place to show films and such. Fortunately, since it's a very old theater, built in the 1929s, the lighting wasn't very good. Even with today's standards, they actually had to string lights up. So that was kind of a difficult situation, low light situation. So I also tried to do post-production ways to try to get a better picture. It did, inside the theater did get a little bit grainy when filming. Tripod, I should have brought a tripod. I didn't because I didn't know if there's going to be a lot of people there or what type of situation, and I wouldn't have room. I should have brought it anyway because tripod, you're going to get a better stable shot, where handheld tends to be more shaky. Now, I did have stabilization built into the camera, but that can only do so much. And then we go on to the software part, which is unique in itself because actually the software and the hardware is all new. The Canon is the Canon XF100, which films in MXF format, which is really MPEG-2, the kind that DVDs use. And the video editing software, which is just released a couple of weeks ago, is Final Cut Pro 10. Unfortunately, since it's a new software, Canon wasn't able to provide a plugin to natively support the MXF format. So after filming, I had to convert it over to ProRes 422 format using a third-party video converter, which was, I think, the Ansoft video converter. That's the name of it. It actually worked quite well. It's a very good product, and obviously it took a while because it was 7 minutes of footage going to ProRes, which is a very large file size. So that was kind of a unique situation, but that worked out quite well though. Now I decided to film in 720p. I could have done 1080, but on the internet, people don't often have the bandwidth anyway. So I figure I keep it at 720p, 60 frames per second, and that ended up being post-production down to 480p, which is normally what I use anyway, because I broadcast at 480p. It's a lot easier to work in that format, to go into YouTube and some such. Now, I kind of chose 60 frames per second because often, and at a higher resolution, because often if you're going to use slowdown effects or something like that, it's better to have the high frame rate, and then just lower it down once you do your final format. You render it down. Unfortunately, when I did the final format, it went down to 60 frames per second, unfortunately. So, and I inadvertently deleted the file, so I couldn't get them back again. And that was user error, because there's a way you can go into compressor, which is the software that you have to buy extra with Final Cut Pro 10. And you have to edit the settings to go down to 30 frames per second, because when I uploaded it using 60 frames per second, it worked fine, but you see video tearing and some of the faster motions. So it would have been better to render it down at 30 frames per second. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a way to do it. It did have a selection to do that, but for some reason it wouldn't let me select it. But I found out later that you have to right-click it and select duplicate, and it actually allows you to make a custom setting. That I didn't know. That's due to using the new software. So, and besides that, it was a lot of fun doing the project, and I'm looking forward to doing some more. And the Ritz Theater film clip, that's coming up on Saturday, so you guys get to see all the whole video and my mistakes as well. You may see in there as well. So besides that, I figure I guys tell you my workflow, just because it's just interesting. The little problems that crop up and things like that. So.